What's going on, people? It's Mr. Door back again with the reaction show. I don't know why Des is smirking. Hope everyone's all good. Let's talk about yesterday's game, reaction from it as well. And if you want to get involved in the chat, please do in the comment section. If you're new to our channel, I'm depressed. Fuck you, I'm depressed. I'm football depressed, people. If you are new to my channel, please do hit the like button. I think it should come up. Please, yeah, look, yeah, it works. It works, people. It works. Please do hit the subscribe button as well, people. And comment in the comment section. How the hell are you? Well, yeah, I'm angry. If people not seeing my reaction from the game, please go and watch it. Go and watch. I've not seen Rad, but go and watch matches afterwards as well. I'll put that in the link as well. And watch as Des is. I'm not happy with Des. I'm gonna say all it is because right before let's get him on. First of all, the Rads, myself, Rads. How you doing, Rads?
Yeah, good. Besides, the football, but good.
Football depressed.
Yeah,
football depressed. People, make sure everyone goes to subscribe to Rad. His link is in the title. The reason I'm not happy with Des, man, because he got so much stick last week on Twitter, and I listened to it before he put it on social media. I thought to myself, Des, what are you watching? What game are you watching? If people in the chat see Des's reaction from the game, please, was he soft? Des, you were soft.
No, I wasn't. I said it exactly as it was.
People in the chat, have you seen Des's after reaction from the game? Was he soft? Because I'm fuming. I was fuming.
Do you know what I will say about the reaction from last week? I think people want to revisit what they actually said about it because a lot of them were saying exactly the same yesterday, weren't they?
Just retweet what you should have retweeted it.
Well, that wouldn't have been right, would it? Because it was Brighton, not Liverpool. But for me, it was. We'll get into it, but it was exactly the same performance, and that all of a sudden people are calling out all these things I called out last week. But there you go. That's social media for you.
That's social media for you. But like I said, people, we're going to talk about yesterday's game. If you've not saw my reaction from it, please watch it. I wasn't happy about it, but we will talk about it through the game. As well, people, if you do want to be a member to my channel, any super chats to watch my channel as well, it'd be a massive help as well. But yeah, let's talk about it. Let me get right. Some people, let me get through the chat as well. The man himself, number one, Rad's dads. Even though what earth did stick with the side, we played against Liverpool. Saturday game, versus Luton feels like a playoff final coming in your Reds. Yeah, that's how it feels, if I'm honest. Shout out to Rad's dads. Lee tells you, I hope you're well, my friend. Even though Mr. Dole watching a glass of wine and pizza, Nuno went Billy Davis in the interview yesterday. Lee, why do you need to put Billy Davis in this? Come on, man. Get a grip of yourself. Drink your wine and enjoy the show. Colin, how you doing, Colin? The legend. So, hi, Ben, Raz, and here he does. Yeah, he is a bit hairy, isn't it? people in the chat, do you think he needs a shave? I think he doesn't need a shave, doing that. Kiko, we're seriously going down. Nuno isn't much better than Cooper at the minute. Again, that's something that we are going to talk about. Shout out to Claire. We were crap away day, boring. Talk about it, we're stuck all day with you. Claire, I was all right with you. It wasn't me. It was Dave. So don't give the bullying tactic to me. It was all Dave. But shout out to Claire. Thank you for the lifts as well. Good evening, Mr. Doyle, Raz and Des. Hope you're well. Shaving last, but I'm remain confident we can stay up. I'm starting some new Forest drawings this week. Yes, Eve, she's the legend. She'll draw some Forest people as well. So anyone, give Eve some ideas on what she can draw as well. Don't draw Des with that beard because he will just ruin it. 186 for red. Understand your reaction, Mr. I thought we would throw the kitchen. At Brighton. Yeah, we would have. We should have. We were just shocking. And last but not least, Dave again. Hardly blame him after last week when the world and his mum jumped on him. Was that Des, David? As well. Right. People in the chat, as you get involved, any questions that you do want to ask me, Rad or Des about yesterday's game, please do. Before we do it, one more from Michael. We rolled the dice and we're no better off. We lost our identity. Mancha has no repair with the supporters and it doesn't have much with the players either. Again, it's something we are talking about. But thank you for the message, Michael. Let's start with you, Dads. Let's start with the lineup. And people in the chat, was you happy with the lineup? I wasn't. But Rads, was you happy with the lineup?
I mean, I was a bit surprised to see Elanga and Hudson-Odoi, of course, taken out. Not 2 shots, not see a one, because obviously he's not fully there with his fitness. I was very pleased to see Wood back, to be honest, because I think he's really written himself into the faith of Forest fans all of a sudden, which I'm pleased about to have him in our good books now. And on form, Tyro's obviously better, but fair play to Wood. I just don't. I felt a bit bad for him really during the game because he just didn't really get any proper service or any clear-cut chances. But the lineup itself, it was a bit confusing. I just was a bit baffled by whether we were going to be playing wingers. As it turned out, you had this weird thing with like Origi playing out wide again, and a lot thought Dominguez was going to be like in that weird winger role that he was playing a while ago, which he actually did well in.
Newcastle, was it Newcastle? Wasn't it?
It was a bit. It was when the AFCON lads were out, wasn't it? So it was like, yeah, Brentford away. I think he played it. But yeah, it was just a strange selection. I kind of get what he was thinking. Let's just try and maybe hold Brighton as long as we can, but we should have been going there trying to take the game to them because like they've been really struggling for their standards recently. Conceded 8 goals in 3 games beforehand. They hadn't scored a goal. And if we can go and beat Newcastle away and, we didn't beat Bournemouth, but we held them and they were in good form at the time. It's like, why can't you just go out? You shouldn't fear a team that are in poor form. And even though Brighton, I think really they are ahead of us, but the players that we had at our disposal, we should have at least gone for it a lot more.
Brighton B team. That's
yeah, they had a lot of injuries as well. So, second half, it was like polar opposite. We had a lot more of the ball and quite a lot more, I won't even say chances because we didn't even really have any clear-cut chances, but we just didn't do anything with it. So that's the frustrating thing. First half, just totally penned in our own half and scared to even make a tackle. And, we can question the work rate as well, which I've seen a lot of people say as well, again, which is not a good thing to keep mentioning. But second half, just, it was mainly Forest domination, but very little to actually show for it. And again, the subs were a bit weird as well, like taking off Morgan for a defensive midfielder that hardly kicks a ball for us. Like, I didn't get that thinking either, to be honest. So, yeah, I'm not going to rave about Nuno or anything, but I think I do get why some people are questioning him, at least for that game and just some of his decisions. But yeah, it's not looking great, is it?
No, it's not looking great at all. Before I get Des as well, shout Kitty. Sorry, Kitty, I didn't see you yesterday. You're Jackson, so I do apologise for that. I think I was talking to Des and Glenn. So yeah, blame Des for this if I missed you as well.
Yes.
David Wood would have scored 2 if he had that pass. Yeah, I think he would have. Playing without the wingers made no sense at all. Des, what was your thoughts on the lineup?
Well, to be honest, and being completely selfish, I was glad he made changes because obviously he thought they didn't play very well against Liverpool. And that kind of says it all, doesn't it? And that's a purely selfish thing. Obviously, the manager didn't think the players that I was highlighting, the attacking players, did nothing against Liverpool. I pointed out, and I'm not going to rave about what I said last week and the stick I got all episode, but I pointed out that we played well defensively. And I thought yesterday was exactly the same performance. That they started the game slow, as they always do. I've been moaning about this for weeks. Anybody who's watched any of my after-match vlogs, we start the game slow. We let a team get on top of us in the first half, normally concede, and then we're chasing the game second half. Come out quite fast like we did against Brighton yesterday. He made changes where we ended up really top-heavy at the up front. So I said to get Glenn, last 25 minutes, we had 5 attacking players and 5 defensive players, and that was it. There were nothing in between. I expected it to be like a game of basketball, sort of 5-on-5, and with Brighton's quality, I expected them to pick us off. But again, we just showed them too much respect, and that was my biggest problem against Liverpool. Just showing them too much respect. You asked me about the lineup. The lineup should have that out-and-out raw pacing, because we haven't got consistent players who are tearing things up, but pace can win your football matches. So that it's kind of opportunist in a way. You get them out there, and if they perform well, we've seen it with Elanga in a couple of games early in Nuno's reign. I think it was Bournemouth at home and Newcastle away. Newcastle obviously away, where he was the difference. He was the one who got us back in the game when we were losing, and then he was really good that day. And I think I always talk about, and God forbid we start comparing too early about Luton, because I know that'll probably come up. But like Luton with Townsend and Barkley, those two players are really good players, but they've never been consistent. That's why they play at Luton. But that's why Elanga and Hudson-Odoi play at Forest, not Chelsea and Manchester United, because they're not consistent. But what you need from them is that opportunism when they are unsung, that they can win you a football match. We're not going to win many football matches. We accept that we're not very good. I accept that we're not very good. What I said last week was not a negative rant in that sense. It's being better at what we do. That's what it's all about. And I think Nuno has got to be better. We'll come on to him more, as you've already alluded to. But I think we've got to be better, full stop, at what we do. And again, just allowing teams to come on to us and dominate games. We didn't touch the ball for 30 minutes. We didn't lay a glove on them. It was so easy. And all I said to Glenn, I was trying not to moan yesterday.
This is why I'm cheesed off you, Des. This is why I'm really cheesed off with him. This is why I'm cheesed off with him, people, because he was too soft.
I said to Glenn, it's too easy for them, because all Brighton were doing, for as good a passing and technical side they are, all they were doing was passing the way they were facing.
Look at the ball, didn't it?
It was just easy. It was like a training ground exercise.
Yeah, it was.
They'd play it into the striker. The striker had confidence to play it back to the defender. Like Lewis Dunk, we all know he's a great defender for the Premier League these days, but I didn't realise how good he was on a football, on the ball, and how confident they were, and one-touch passing. And then you look at Danilo's performance. First half, he was shocking. He was absolutely shocking. Until the end of the first half, when he started one-touch passing and doing what he's good at. I think he needs to be further up the field, but that's another issue. I just think you look at the midfield, especially, Yates needs 2-3 touches to get his pass away. Danilo's trying to flick. Dominguez is that pressing guy who wins the tackle but don't necessarily come out with the ball. And then you looked at what they had in midfield, and it was one touch into the striker. If he can't do anything with it, it goes back to the defender. And all we're doing is trying those balls out to the wingers all the time, and it becomes predictable. And I think we've got to be better at what we do, because teams are better than us. It's as simple as that. Liverpool, I didn't expect us to be going outclass Liverpool. I expected us with the performance, with the chances we had, and with the way we defended in the second half, to see it out, regardless of what had happened. And again, yesterday, if that goal doesn't go in, which could have been avoided, again, it's an error.
Well.
I think it's more the goalkeeper's error, obviously more the goalkeeper's error than Mbadidele's. But if that doesn't go in, you're looking at exactly the same performance in 2 weeks, because everyone had been saying we've gone to Brighton and we dug in and we didn't concede and this kind of thing. But now everybody's moaning that it's absolutely rubbish. And it's the same week on week in reality. Something has to change. Again, before I kind of sign out for now, I'd just say, Nuno, I am starting to question, because I'm not seeing any identity. I've seen somebody make the comment in the comments. Where is the identity in this team now? I don't see what it is and what it's all about. It seemed to be at the start of his reign, we get the ball to these quick players, we get them pushing forward and creating chances. And whilst we still do create more chances than we used to, we don't look as solid at the back. And that's really, really, really worrying right now.
I think Des Michael, we roll on the dice, we're a little bit off. We lost identity. Manchester got poor with supporters, and we don't have much with players either. I think spot on, Des, as well. That's what I felt. But I said I think I'll do a video tomorrow about the connection with what we had with Steve Cooper and now with Nuno. Rad just mentioned let's talk about their goal, and we've not criticised ourselves, because I think he's been good for us. He made some good decent saves for us, but we've got to blame him for that goal for yesterday. Do we? Yes or no? People in the chat, whose fault was it? Do you think it was Mbamdele or Sells? Could have done better, but what's your view on it, Rads?
When I first saw it, I just thought it was a very, very scrappy goal to concede. then looking back, it has to really be on the goalkeeper. I know Balotelli missed a header initially from, it wasn't even a corner, it was just a free kick from that kind of area. But it's a set piece, which is our arch nemesis as always. But yeah, Sels comes out to, I think he was trying to catch it or punch it away or something, and he just completely misses it. And maybe if Balotelli got contact, it might have been okay. But I think we've probably got to blame the goalkeeper first, because he went to make that move, he committed himself, and it didn't work. And it was just a mess again. I don't know how you can really be conceding like that at the near post when you've got two players right there, they were right next to the post, and somehow we conceded in that scenario. And it'd been coming, because it was total Brighton domination before that. It was just constant. I swear they had like 4 corners in quick succession or something, and it was just constant pressure from them, and just felt like a matter of time before they're going to score. And to score a goal as sloppy as that and not even respond was very poor. But you probably got to blame the keeper more than anyone there. But not to say he's been bad. I think he's been much better than Turner and Vlachodimos. But I do get why people say, is Sels even a long-term option? Because I just don't know. It's like we've made a total hash of this whole goalkeeper situation. It's just so unprofessional how we've gone about it, really. But yeah.
Before I get Des on, there's quite a few comments coming in. One from Richard. I think it's our own fate in our own hands. If we can't beat teams around us, we don't deserve to be in the Premier League, unfortunately. 100% Richard. Like I said, we are going to talk about the games that got next, Luton, but again, that's for the end of the show. Katie, I was always a Cooper in. I feel the one of the things that kept us in last season was the support of the crowd and belief that came from the manager through the players. We just don't have it right now. And that's, again, Katie, 100%. Yesterday, I'll speak to Des, I'll talk to Des later on about how, again, the atmosphere yesterday wasn't great, was it? So, that's something that we all going to talk about as well. DJ Dan always good to see you, Dan. My frustration is our signing for the last 2 years. I mean, what's the point of signing Rail? Again, where was he yesterday? Surely if Langer Hudson aren't playing, then Ray plays. If not, why sign him? Again, that what baffles me. Another player that was signed, and he's not really had a game. So, I will speak to Radden Des about the signings, because why buy these players if they're not playing? Were they Nuno signings? Was it the owner signings? We don't know. So that's something we all will talk about for the show. Steve thought the free kick was harsh. If the keeper comes, then we need to get the ball. I thought the free kick was very harsh as well. So, but we still got to defend it. We can't use it stupid excuses. Ricky, we are missing Mangala's connection midfield play. As well. Great good comments coming in as well. This is from Gordon. If teams don't start against Luton, we waste of talking about Toffler, Bolo, Felipe Williams, Sangare. Is that your team for Luton? It's just something. David, how are you doing, David? Don't panic, hold the line. We rely on the support team. We need to support the love fans now more than ever. No, I'll talk about fans about that later on the show, because like I said, me and Des watched the game and I thought it was great. You know what, Des? We go to every game, right? Do you think the fans need to be more supportive? Because I think it's been since Nuno's come in, the atmosphere's not been. What's your opinion on it? And I just want people to chat, get involved. What's your opinion on the atmosphere? What's yours, Des?
Well, yesterday I weren't happy with some of the things I saw in the away end. It was petulant at best. There was lots of situations, and whilst again I'll sort of allude to my negative comments last week about the team, I'm not generally negative in the ground. I have my say and this kind of thing, but it's all about getting behind the team, isn't it? And I don't like sort of bemoaning the atmosphere, because we're all part of it. We're all there. If you're not doing it, why should everyone else do it? Kind of thing. And it sometimes the team have to give you something to shout about. I thought in terms of singing songs and supporting, but it almost felt like an entitlement thing now that because we're Forest and because we stayed up last year and because we're getting told we want to do this, this, and this and become a bigger club, that everybody expects us to stay in the Premier League. And because Luton, Sheffield United, and Burnley are down there, rightly so, people are saying that it's going to count when we play these teams. But my thought is now, why do people think we're going to go away to those places and win? We can't win anywhere. You know, we didn't beat two of them at home, and we only beat Sheffield United in the last minute. It doesn't matter how you beat them, and at the end of the day, don't get me wrong. But what makes anybody think? So again, the atmosphere is just going to notch to another level, you know. And I just feel there's a bit of, like I say, petulance and arrogance, you know, about what the expectations are these days. At the end of the day, we're free falling. You know, the team is free falling from when Nuno had played those first 3 games and we was all confident that we was going in the right direction, and then the FFP stuff come out. Since then, the team's just falling away, and we'll get relegated because of a points deduction probably, because I don't see any of the bottom 4 winning enough games to make themselves particularly safe. So if Forest did stay up in a genuine points total by a genuine tally of no points deductions, I don't think we're going to get enough points to avoid any points deductions, if you get what I mean. So we're probably going to go down in that sense, and that's not being negative, that's being realistic. You look at the games we've got left, yes, there is some winnable ones, but all those teams, if we get a 6 or 10 point deduction, I have no idea what it's going to be. It's going to pull Burnley and Sheffield United right back into it, and they're going to think if they beat Forest at home, you know, that brings them closest to the line, you know. And then if Luton beat us or it's a draw at the weekend, probably the best result for them, you know, it's going to pull them right back into it. So I think the panic is starting to set in. I don't necessarily think it's Nuno's fault. He's not Steve Cooper at the end of the day, and this was probably why Steve Cooper got so long. You know, I'm everybody who watches this or everybody I meet at Forest knows I was a massive Steve Cooper fan, but I think a change was needed by the end of it, you know. But I'm not sure that, as I think it was, as Katie said somewhere, that there's no connection there. You know, there's no connection with the fans and the players. The problem is the players. And again, in relation to what Luton are doing, and I know all the Forest fans are frustrated that Luton are the darlings of the media this year. We were last year. We were in the same position because we were fighting, scrapping, you know, getting points. Cooper went on those little mini runs that just about kept us up. And by the end of the season, we're playing with some pretty good stuff. The Brighton and the Arsenal game and Southampton at home to keep us up. You know, it was much more competitive. And I think what we've slipped back into is the whole club, because of the things going on. I don't just think I never blame football results for things like FFP and stuff going on behind the scenes, because players have got a job to do. But there's a negative atmosphere everywhere, and it was horrible yesterday. Do you know, at the end of the game, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a thing I saw, and I hated it because I thought it just epitomised it. There was a couple in front of me who actually watched the show. They might be watching now, and said that they watched DoreOnTour and they've seen me on here and talking. So I was chatting a bit to them. Nice couple. Some youth at the end of the game just booted the back of the chair, you know, and the guy was pretty upset with him for doing it. And then I had to pull the kid out of the way to stop a situation between fans. And you think, what a ridiculous scenario. And the only reason I pulled him away was because I didn't want the nice guy to get in trouble, because he just had his chair booted in by some Forest fan who weren't happy with the result. And I thought, is that where we're going with this? You know, this is not what the Premier League was supposed to be, is it? It's supposed to be fun and excitement and enjoyable. It was always going to be hard. It was always going to be tough. But we've got to find a way to enjoy the game. And I just came away a little bit yesterday. As you know, I've not got a Luton ticket, the first one in 2.5 years.
Anyone got a Luton ticket for Des, please message me now.
For a few minutes, I thought, I don't care. You know, I'd lost that sort of, I don't want to go. But then, obviously, 10 minutes later, I'm whinging about not having a Luton ticket again. But you know what I mean? It got like that, just seeing the things and this entitlement and this petulance. And you think, wow, what happened to us is this club who everybody looked at last year and thought, look at them getting behind the team, look at them singing and getting behind. And all it is now, and again, I'm sure we'll talk about it, whining and whinging about referees. And yes, it's shocking. It's absolutely off the scale shocking what's happening with these decisions. And I've been the biggest critic of referees for years on this show. But we've got to get on with it as well. Because if that's not creating anything, is it? That's not giving us anything to be positive about. So Nuno's interview, I get it. He's upset. He's angry. But it's not going to transmit well into the players. It's not going to transmit. What do a lot of managers come on and say? Yes, it's a bad decision. I'm not going to talk about it, but we did this, this, and this. And there's teams at the top of the league, and again, God forbid I get accused of being anti-Forest to any degree, but Liverpool have had 5 or 6 shockers. The Tottenham one, the offside in the cup, but they still win football matches. And I'm not saying we need every little bit of help we can get. Don't get me wrong, but you've got to sort of create the positivity from within, isn't it? And all of a sudden, the clubs will start moaning, the fans will start moaning, and the performances have dropped off the planet. And that's what's really, really upsetting right now.
People, if you can do a massive favour, please do hit the like button as well if you can. Discussion, like I said, I think we'll talk about the referee decisions as well. And if anyone saw my reaction about the bad decision to give for the ref, it's about getting goals and defending. That's all I'm more worried about. We can just moan about people getting sent off, things not going our way. Just don't go and watch it. I've done a poll, and is anyone happy with Nuno? Yes or no? Right. What's different since Nuno's come in? People in the chat, what's different as Nuno's? Has anything different changed since Nuno's come in? I'm asking you first, Rads. Anything different?
If you'd asked me a few weeks ago, I would have said a lot's different, to be honest. But I'm starting to very quickly feel like very indifferent. Like I'm not like in or out. I'm seeing a lot of people already call for his head, which I can kind of understand. But at the same time, I think a lot of people have said we overall play better, which I think a lot of the time has been true. We've been a bit more attacking minded. We've scored more goals, especially from Alanga to Doy and Tyra and Wood. It's been good that, but overall we've been arguably leaking even more goals. And obviously we weren't doing well at end of Cooper. We were conceding a lot of goals when he was here, but it just seems like the same mistakes keep happening, but they're happening even more.
Is it one win and 14 in it? Is it? I don't know if it what it is.
Yeah.
One win.
Well, yeah, it's in the
two in 14.
No, well, it depends. He's won 2 in 14 in all competitions. One of them, he's won 3. One of them was in extra time against.
No, league. Just league, Des. Just league.
I don't think he's had 14. I think it's about 10, isn't it? It's 2 in 10.
People in chat, what is it? I don't know what it is. I'm sure it's 1 in 10. Something in the gym. Right, carry on, Red. Sorry.
Yeah, since he's been here, he's won 3 in the league. But this year, he's only won the West Ham game in the league this 2024. So, it's not a good look, obviously. And under Cooper, we had a long run without winning. But I don't know. I just feel it's even harder now to get up for it in ways, because we're talking about that spirit and that connection. And I feel like as bad as it got under Cooper, we all still had that very strong connection to the manager. Whereas now, and this isn't even Nuno's fault, because it's impossible to compare the two. We just don't have that connection to the manager. So it's like as soon as we start losing now, it's like all guns blazing. And, get rid of Nuno. These lot don't care, the players. And to some extent, I don't think some of the players are fully giving it their all. And we had this in that Fulham game, where we were criticising the work rate and downing tools. And I don't think we're seeing that quite just yet. But the Brighton game yesterday, it's like, that work rate. I was watching the game and the players just were stood still at times. They weren't even really breaking a sweat to try and get the ball off Brighton, especially in that first half. And it's really concerning to see. So have we improved? I mean, I think in ways we have done, but I feel like we are on the decline again. You know, we've lost 4 in a row now and conceded. We've lost 1-0 3 times in a row, but not scored any. And I agree with the refereeing decisions. They're diabolical. But I don't. I'm fed up of us keep playing the victim card, like constantly blaming the referees. It's a big issue for the whole league. It's not just Forest. We seem to be getting an awful lot of them. It's stupid. And even if people are saying let's go down to the Championship again, they're just as bad in the Championship. We know that from experience. So they're all.
You're not going to get VAR in the Championship.
Yeah, that's one thing. But they're
You've
all
got
terrible.
Stroud in the Championship, for God's sake.
Exactly.
I miss him. I miss him a lot. Yeah.
But
when you miss him,
we can blame the refs, and we've got every right to have a go at them and feel aggrieved. But at the end of the day, if we're like the Liverpool thing, it was a joke what happened, but we still should have defended afterwards a lot better. So maybe if we had got the drop ball, that passage of play wouldn't have ended up happening, but it did. And even if it did, if we'd still conceded that goal late on, we would have absolutely been fuming at the team for not holding on. It's only because of what happened beforehand. So we've got to get perspective. We've got to focus on what we're doing here and realizing that we're also not playing well enough. Like the Nico thing yesterday, clear red card, but I don't think you can blame that anywhere near as much as the Hudson-Odoi thing with the drop ball, because we just were playing terrible the whole game. So yeah, the referees are a joke, but you can't keep using it as an excuse, because I've seen some people saying it's referees will arguably like target us even more, like with the Clattenburg thing as well. That's just strange. So
you know what?
Yeah,
the Clattenburg thing. Like, what's Clattenburg? Do you think Clattenburg's going to say to the referees, "Oh, give Forest this"? No, stop mentioning. If Clattenburg wasn't at Forest, it would have made no difference. So when I hear people talk about him, what? Who cares? I don't give a kick.
The problem is with having Clattenburg is it almost looks like you're leaning on referees. It's like apparently he went to speak to Paul Tierney last week and he was told to go away. Why would Paul Tierney talk to Clattenburg? It is nothing to him. He might be his mate from his colleague from before. But what it looks like to the outside world is that it looks like we're trying to lean on referees, and that's getting into dangerous territory then. And that's why Forest might be upsetting the rest of the Premier League, and again, it's just not good protocol, is it? It's not what we do.
I'm just going to go through the comments as well. There's quite a lot coming in. This is from Ricky again. In the Premiership, you need 3 good midfielders in the team to compact the opposite. Yeah, we do. Paddy, I've seen you for a long time, Paddy. How you been? Even gents, since the year between injuries and AFCON, we look like a shadow of the team we played on the Man U Newcastle. 1 win in 18, I think it is now. I think it is. Might be that. Thanks to that. Paddy, I hope you're well. Nuno is tackling over defence-minded. Cooper was defence over attacking. We have to believe in Nuno competent and alternative stage of the season. We'll be suicide. Let's be positive, guys. Steve, thank you for the comments, Steve. We are being positive, but when you go to games, and I don't want, like I said, I don't want to use Steve Cooper about this because we're moving forward and we've got Nuno as manager. What we're witnessing with my own eyes, we're not. We had one chance. I think was it one chance for Daz or Lads? Chris Wood, one chance just today.
Barely
I think
any.
it was one chance we had, and against a Paul. I won't say a Paul Brighton side because we got actually hammered against Brighton, against Rome, but. I'm just disappointed. I'm not trying to be negative at all, Steve. It's just disappointing the way we are attacking teams. That's all. But thank you for the comment, Steve. Nuno isn't being given a fair chance. Afghan and injuries come in. I think he has, Kev Keefe. I think he has. But if people disagree, then that's fine. Gordon, exactly right. Fix up, look sharp, not have their own shit. What's our own destiny? Yeah, is that a song, Gordon? From what's the name? Diz Rascal. Kate says, I feel for the players who get dragged down with all the VR talk. Gibbs-White looked drained when he interviewed last night. The manager needs to learn an example and stop talking about it. Yeah. Lee says, Rise talks some sense as always. What do you mean? More sense than me and Dad? Come on. Lee. Thought we were mates. As well, David, staying up was always going to be a fight. We are in a fight and we should be loved every minute of it. When we start final day, thank God for goal difference, we're better than Wembley. David, I know you keep talking about it every single time, David. We're saying we'll stay up for the last of the season. But shout out to David as well. For Michael, think there will be another manager resetting some regardless of what league we're in. Let's focus. Let's be positive. In Nuno, we trust. Yeah. Des, let me ask you. Do you believe? Like the question, like I said, are you confident with Nuno? Because, like I said,
I don't think confidence is the word. But what I want to say about that, again, I think half the comments I get when I say something negative about Forest is because people think I love Steve Cooper. Look, I don't want any manager to get in the sack for Forest because it means we're not doing very well. I'm fully behind this manager, and if we go on a winning run of 4 games, then we'll all love him again and think he's amazing. And I'm not completely against him, but there is things I've seen. So there's circumstances. Some of the guys have mentioned them in the comments. AFCON, players were missing. There's been injuries. Tyrone Wanyi's not been at his disposal, just like he wasn't at Cooper's, and he's massive. I know Chris Wood has done well, but Tyrone Wanyi is massive. If he doesn't play, we're a completely different team. And technically, he's not the best footballer in the world, but he makes such a difference on the football pitch. He hasn't had him. What I think upset people yesterday was he had most of his squad available, to pick from. The AFCON players are back. Bizarrely, they went missing for 3 weeks, And again, this is where fans are starting to question commitment and loyalty. Why were these players not available before now? What's happened to Aina? He played all the way through the tournament, but all of a sudden he's not there. So I think there's been extenuating circumstances with Nuno. The fact it's not all his team. Well, there is 1 or 2 question marks with players. Somebody early on mentioned Gio Reyna. Why is he not playing? Apparently, he was told when he signed, he was Nuno's signing. We was told that it was exactly his player, and he's not featured. So that doesn't make any sense. I just think there's a lot going on with the football club that we probably don't know about, we'll never know about, and a lot of frustrating situations that are all sort of coming up with where we're at. The FFP thing's not Nuno's fault either. And again, if it weren't for FFP, we wouldn't be, whilst we'd be looking over our shoulder, we wouldn't be so panicky about the situation. Yes, we'd still think Luton's a massive game this weekend, but we'd almost feel if we go and win it, we're pretty much safe because it's going to be hard for Luton to then win 2 games. Teams like Forest, Luton, Paul Merson says it every week on Soccer Saturday. They don't win 3 or 4 in a row. They win 1 in every 6 or 7, and so with only 10 games to go, being 6 points clear of Luton, you'd fancy yourself to pick up 1 or 2 wins. If you'd beat Luton away, you'd probably think, well, we'll go to Burnley and beat them, and we might beat Sheffield away. But now, all of a sudden, we've got FFP looming. And again, that's not Nuno's fault. So there's a lot of things that are not his fault. And I'm not comparing him to Cooper when I talk about where Forest are at. I just think of late, some of the decisions have been a bit strange. Again, I'm not going to go too heavy on him on the team selection because I thought Forest were rubbish against Liverpool. Obviously, he did, so he made changes. But what? And I've mentioned it. I've already mentioned it tonight. One of the things that really, really upsets me is this. Let's sit back and have a look at teams. It's killing us. It's killing us, and it's also removing any identity we've got. So we're in the first half of every game, we are sitting back giving teams too much respect We did it with Liverpool. The only time we got out of our half against Liverpool was when Elanga had that golden chance. I'd be as happy as anyone we go in 1-0, but we didn't go in 1-0, and that's the problem. So the tactic was to sit back, and all we were doing, we were sitting on the edge of our own box against an inexperienced team at times, giving them the ball back, letting them pass it too easy. We come up against Brighton, and like I say, they didn't do anything special to get round us, but they killed us for 30 minutes. And it was a goal that made us then, Divock Origi had a chance. We come out second half a bit more on it. Then he made the subs, and that makes it look more attacking again. But why are we leaving it so late? And this is what's really frustrating, because it's every single game. Liverpool, we sat in. Brighton, we sat in. Aston Villa before that, we sat in. We were 3-0 down in no time against a quality side. I go back to the West Ham game. The one team that let us have the football, well, there's been two teams who've let us have the football in Nuno's era, and that's Manchester United and West Ham. Bizarrely, Man U let us sort of play our game, and in the league game, we beat them because this tactic worked. As the game went on, we wore them down through work rate, and I thought we played really well. And then West Ham let us have the ball, gave us too much respect on our pitch, and this is why their fans are moaning at Moyes for being too negative, gave us too much respect on our pitch, and we managed to do something with it. I think there's the crux of a good team in there when we've got a first 11, Pace on the wing and Tyro up front. We've got a really good team. Nuno's got a really good team. But we've got to start taking some of the initiative, and I don't get from the start of the game for 45 minutes, whatever the score is, we sit back and let the other team come at us. And then it's like the flick of a switch. And that's what's frustrating me. And again, so I take all those points I made about defending Nuno to some degree, saying that there's loads of situations that aren't his fault, that the cards have been dealt for him. But when it comes to winning a football match and dealing with what's in front of him, because that's what football management is nowadays as well. You get served players. It's all right saying they're not Nuno's players. Most of them weren't Cooper's players. Most of them aren't Pochettino's players or Klopp's players. They just get signed and then they have to work with them. So it boils down to what happens on the day. And at the moment, we're in a slump. And everybody said, and it always comes up about every manager, not just Cooper, there were no plan B. Right now, I can't see a plan A, because I don't see identity within the team and how we're going to, unless a team allows us to play like United did and like West Ham did, and United did it. We played slightly better against Man U in the FA Cup. It was only a late goal, but they let us play. For some reason, their players tend to sit deep and they rely on their pace up front and Fernandes pulling strings. So I just think we've got to stamp some authority on games, and we'll be much better for it. Ryan Yates, for all his questionable ability, is a much better player when the game is at sort of 100 miles an hour. You get a lot more from him. Danilo bombing forward. He's not a number 6. It's as simple as that. And I think this is where the questions are starting to come in now. Is nothing has changed. So if Cooper didn't have a plan B, what is Nuno's plan A? I don't get it. I don't get it.
People try to do. I think I get what you mean as well. People try to. You mentioned. Right, let me ask. This is frustrating me. Right, I see people moaning about Sangare that's not starting and all that, and it's always going to be talked about with the price tag. You come on. And what did you do? What did you do? And people chat. Am I wrong to say? Raz, what? I think I keep saying this to you, Raz. I'm not going to say to Des, but Des, look at Des's face. People in the chat. What do you think about Sangare coming on? And go on, Raz. I can use my.
I had a bit of a rant about Sangare in my Brighton video, which I don't always do.
No swearing, Rad.
I think like that. I'm not going to, go too far with it. But
Or do you
yeah,
want to say it now, or wait till people watch the show?
they can do both.
They can do both. What's the same now? Short version.
Yeah. Well, I know.
What do you think about Sangare?
I haven't really got much to say about him. I just think he's just so far been a total waste of money. I think that's putting a lot of pressure on him, and it's the main thing that we're going to think about when you think of Sangare immediately. Okay, especially for a club that never normally spends 30 million on a player. It's just criminal. Look at how good Dominguez has been. He's not worth 30 million either. But if Sangare is worth 30 million, what's Dominguez worth? It's incredible. He's just done very little, if you ask me. And I know before yesterday he hadn't played for us for 2 months. But then you saw AFCON. He clearly is a.
He didn't even play AFCON.
He played in the group though. He
played the group, but he didn't play the quarterfinal, the semi-final, or the final.
No, but when he did play. I know he looked like better than what he has done for us, and I think he scored in the group stage.
No, it was VAR.
Oh right, yeah,
it was VAR.
But I don't know. I didn't watch him.
We're not slagging Sangare off. Just let's make it clear. We just haven't seen nothing.
I didn't watch him closely in that tournament. I just know he's clearly got ability. If we paid that much money for him, he looks like this messiah, golden player at PSV that's going to reinvent our midfield. And then he's come to Forest. I don't even fully think he's 100% bothered about playing for Forest, in my opinion. Because there was reports before we even signed him, he didn't actually want to be coming to Forest. And then suddenly on deadline day, we get a load of money for Brennan, and we blow most of it on a player that hasn't played enough for that amount of money, which part of it's obviously AFCON. But it's whenever he has played, he had a pretty solid run under Cooper, and he just was very uninspiring. Besides, I think Aston Villa at home, he looked pretty good. But I'm still kind of struggling to think of his performance in that game. And I know he played in that Newcastle game as well. But the Fulham game away was one of the worst performances I've ever seen from a Forest player. He just was terrible. So yeah, and the worst thing is if we get relegated, we're one of the first players that leaves. 100%. So, and I wouldn't bother me because we're going on about identity. He's just one of those players that I just have no feeling towards. I look at Yatesy and Gibbs-White and Taiwo and players like that, and I have a feeling towards them. Nico, I appreciate them as players and even people, but then I just don't have anything towards Sangare, and I hope he can prove us wrong, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. So yeah, it's been a flop so far.
People watched Rad's reaction after this game. I want to see more of this. I'm not happy with that response that Rad's. I want some more from you, but never mind. We'll watch it. We'll watch it then. I got a super chat from this legend, Curtis. Thank you for the £5, Curtis. Great show, Dawn, lads. Worried for you now. There's no goal in the last 3 games. You have to beat Luton this weekend, Curtis. If Arsenal play any teams that we are playing, please Arsenal. Thank you for beating Sheffield United. Is it 6-0? I think it was 6-0. Curtis, thank you for that. But shout to Curtis. Make sure everyone go subscribe to my guy, Curtis. He's doing a big thing on his channel. So please do a massive favor. Please subscribe to my man Curtis, doing big things for Arsenal. But thank you for the £5, Curtis. Much appreciate that. Steve, thank you. Met you before the game. Top guy as well. We made one poor pass to Williams. I think that's going to Sangare, which went out of play. Nothing else to prefer. David, Sangare is a tube. He's a tube. Waste of money. And I can't wait for Des to respond. I'm really looking forward to this. Michael, the latest World Prize will be a better signing. We need Premier experience. Yeah. Sangare's 37 rads. What?
37 million? Was he? No. Yeah, it makes it even worse.
I don't think so looks fair. He hasn't been the same since Christmas. Didn't get a great AFCON either. He didn't even play, Steve. He played the group stages that they nearly got knocked out of, and then he didn't even play in the quarterfinals, the semi-finals. And he played last 10 minutes in the final.
What a player.
What else is there? Prior to Sangare shit end off. There's a reason why the so big club didn't sign him. Yeah, because I think was it Bayern Munich? Bayern Munich were linked with him, if I do remember. But he came to Forest. But yeah, it is what it is. Dad, what's your opinion on him?
It's crap. It's crap.
Okay.
It's not good enough. You know, called it early and you get told to give these players a chance. I remember I was on with you and Super Kev one day and I said he's not good enough. He's not committed enough for a start, as Rad says. You know, I think Gordon says somewhere there that we'll be looking to get 20 million for him. We'll be looking to get 2 million for him. So if anybody's seen him perform this season.
Wait, you know what? I'm sure I'll sell it in the podcast. You'll be rubbish for us, and then they'll go to Olympiacos. Something like lies. I think I said, but
honestly, that again, and Rad's rightly said it. You know, when you look at identity, you know, what Forest were crying out for to really not be the final piece of the jigsaw, you know, to build on last season, to build us some identity was to find that number 6. We felt that we had players improving elsewhere on the pitch. You know, with the way we ended last season, with players on form and all the positivity, and we felt getting that number 6 will give us a real identity and help us compete in football matches, help us really get amongst teams. We all sort of saw through Foyer in the end, you know, he wasn't the answer and those kind of things. And it almost felt like the final jigsaw in being able to compete and move forward, not to storm up the table, but to compete. And all it's done is made Forest worse because all season we've missed a number 6. Yes, I saw the comments about Mangala. You know, he had to stay compared to what we have now. But I always felt there should have been more coming from Mangala. He was great at winning the ball back, but he was also great at giving him the ball back. You know, It was great out of possession, but in possession, he was terrible. And again, you can't. The problem is in the Premier League, football matches are won in the midfield. Said it from day one. When the teams we have sort of got against, even Liverpool at times when they've been low on numbers, we've got amongst them. The game at home, I remember Yates and Foyer that day actually played really well.
I miss Remo. I'm not gonna lie.
No, we don't. But it's
not that bad, though.
It's one in the midfield, isn't it? And to have this guy for 30 million quid, it was supposed to be the answer to the one area of the pitch we were really, really struggling. It's just not happened. And sometimes, and this is the problem in the Premier League, Kev always says it himself, Kevin Campbell always says, you'll spend 30 million and sign a dud. You know, it's what happens. Every team does it. United have spent 85 million on duds, you know, and this is the problem that the way the world is now. What I will say is don't go to the Dutch league trying to sign quality players because it's a different league over there. It's slow, you know, slow build up. They get time on the ball. This guy needs about 4 hours on the football to do anything. Because as you saw yesterday, it was a bit like a hot potato when he come on. He was trying things that we don't need to see from him. He was trying to spray it out wide and long passes. What we want is him to sit in that hole, win the football, and pass it neatly to Morgan Gibbs-White. You know, and pass it.
Why do you take Morgan Gibbs-White off? That's another. Well, it might be something. We've got 5 minutes to go, but I don't. Oh, don't be pissed me off. I'm just Come on, Dad. Sorry.
Well, I've said all I've got to say. I'll come on to that about Gibbs-White. But the reality is, every few weeks, people question Gibbs-White's abilities. What's he doing? What he's doing is playing in a rubbish team. He's the best player by an absolute street. He's the best player on the pitch. And I think if Forest don't get relegated, someone's going to come in for him, you know, because he's Forest's best player. And he's not only Forest's best player. This is what frustrates me now. Even when it's not working for him, he is Forest's most hard-working player. He's Forest's most caring player. He's totally committed to the cause. Yesterday we were fuming. We were fuming at the ref. Whilst we question the way we're going about that, at least we're seeing that passion. I saw him fuming at Nico Williams for not passing him a ball down the line. We saw in the Aston Villa game after the second goal, he's getting everyone in. He's trying to do something. And I think to have a player of his ability and who cares, and if he had better players around him, when Forest have done well, Morgan Gibbs-White's been at the centre of it, and he's had a couple of other players in tip-top form. So at the end of last season, Danilo was running off the back of him. Tyro was running ahead of him. He was allowing Gibbs-White to do what Gibbs-White does. He's not got any of that now. He's too quick for some of the players. And I was looking at the way Brighton were playing and the confidence in the strikers to pass it back to the midfield, pass it back to the defence. Morgan Gibbs-White gets the ball and he hasn't got the confidence to pass it back because he don't know if there's a mistake coming. So he tries to do a flick and turn around, and people might sort of get frustrated at him. But if you played football, if you understand it, that's what happens. You don't want to pass it back because you don't want someone to make a mistake and then get accused of passing it back. Do you see what I mean? So I think what we've got there is the best player one of the best players, not what we've ever had, because we've obviously had European Cup winning players, but one of the best players of the last generation
in this era,
with all the skills, and he cares, and he really cares. He's young and he was supposed to be arrogant and a bit hot-headed and this kind of thing before he came to us, but he really cares, and that's what's really frustrating, because I now feel like we're in a position where we're going to lose him, and by taking him off, yes, it was only 5 minutes, nothing was going to happen, but you just don't take him off, because if somebody's going to do something on the pitch, it's most likely going to be him, isn't it? And again, another baffling decision. I would have had Czech Kouyaté on. I'd have Czech Kouyaté in the starting lineup personally, probably as the number 6, because I think, even though I don't think he's the best footballer in the world, I think he's better than any of the others at that role. So yeah, for that decision was baffling, and again, it just gives people ammunition who probably don't sort of understand football and what goes into making a team. It's not always the individual's fault when they don't play well, and there is games where he's not played well, and I'm a massive fan of his, but you just look at the commitment and desire in the predicament we're in, and the frustration and anger in the interviews and things like that, and he cares. And I think if Forest had 11 of those with the ability I think we have as a team, in general, if we was on song and if we was all 100%, again, I just tiny touch back to that Liverpool game. You can get a result in a football match and not play well, and people don't understand that. I would have been over the moon last week to get a result and not play well. I remember watching the Irish teams through the years, under Jack Charlton especially. They were terrible, but they was all in it together. They was all fighting, and they got to World Cup quarterfinals and things like that. And I think that's what people are missing. It's a team effort, and if everybody puts in, but the problem is you're only as strong as your weakest link. And when there is an individual error every single match, it doesn't matter how Morgan Gibbs-White's played or Sangare. If a goalkeeper's done this or your centre back's done that, you're gonna lose football matches because it's too easy and it's too easy to pick out. And we're doing it now because you're asking us to talk about it. It's too easy to pick out individuals sometimes, especially the ones that are generally the best performers.
Yeah, 100%. Last one before we do go. We've got to talk about the Luton game. And I put a poll in: can we beat Luton on the form that we are? We are right now. We are relegation form and playing against a team that they're not playing well, but they've got more energy. Like they got a point against Palace on Saturday, and they got nothing to fear, Luton. And right now, I feel if we carry on the way we are playing, we'll lose and we'll go down. So like I said, I've done a poll people. Do you think we can beat Luton? So far, 78 says yes, 22 says no. Right, how you feel about Luton? Do you think we can win? People in the chat as well. Can we beat Luton?
Well,
on
yes,
this
we
form,
can.
on the form, right?
We can definitely beat them, but on this form, and then just how terrible our away form is and has been, the last 2 seasons. I'm not confident about it. I know we've won a mighty 2 games away from home this season in the Premier League, but it's better than last season's 1. But it's just not been good enough away from home. I know we got that win against Newcastle and Chelsea at the start of the year, which were great wins, and maybe we've been a bit unfortunate in some of the games. But we've had, I feel the last 2 away games have gone back to our worst kind of away performance, because the Villa game, 3-0 down so early on, just basic mistakes again, just sitting. If you sit deep, it's not nice to see, but we don't even sit deep and play well when we do that. That's the thing. We don't even know how to sit deep and actually do well at that. That's the concerning thing. So, yeah, we can't go to Luton and do that. That's the thing. We definitely know we've got to go for it. But like Luton, as we said, they're playing without any fear at all. I know they've been on a bad run of form like we have too, but just like last season, we were essentially in Luton's position. Everyone was like raving about us. I would want to see Forest stay up. This season, Luton, it's a bit of a different scenario. Like they're this massive underdog. How they end the Premier League, everyone wants them to stay in the league. And if we weren't involved in it, it would be a great story. But, it's like everyone's going to be back in Luton at the weekend.
Everyone will need to win. It's a fairy tale, isn't it?
Yeah, and the thing is, it's even more interesting is they obviously played before us. They played Bournemouth. It's a tough task to go there and win. But if they were to win or get anything, or even if they lost, obviously we may even get points took off us before we play Luton.
And I think it's this week, isn't it? Is it this week, the point deduction thing?
So it's mad to think before we even play them, we could go from being 3 points clear of them to being maybe even 3 or like more points below them. So it just makes it even more big, this game. So I'm totally honest, I'm not that confident on our form at all, even though it's a game we really need to be winning. And like this is the really frustrating thing. Everyone's saying we've technically got a better team than we had last season, but we're not showing it. And I think because we've lost that spirit, I don't think that's helping. It's not the problem. I just feel it's not helping. But on paper, which is very different to on grass, we have not got. We've got a much better team than the 3 teams below us, but I think all 3 of them could give us a game, and that's even Sheffield United, how terrible they've been. On this form anyway, I don't think we can be confident of beating anyone, and that's the really concerning thing. Look how bad we were in the FA Cup against teams that are nowhere near our level. I just feel I want to try and be optimistic, and we need to be getting a result, but I just feel like you say on this form, it's like it's really, really concerning. So yeah, is it like make or break? I think it's a massive game that could sway it for either side. So the points deduction is just going to make it even more interesting, isn't it? So yeah, it's a very very big game.
Before I get Des' opinion, people on Facebook, I don't think it's working. So if you have joined me on YouTube, thank you. But I don't know what's happening on Facebook. There's been an error on this, so I do apologise for that. That's what at least Des. How are you feeling about this Luton game, Des? I know you. It's I don't know, rub it in, Des. You're not going, but I'll get people. Please, if there's a Luton ticket, please help Des. It's good to see Des about Luton as well. After I did get you a ticket last time, Des, didn't I? For Luton away. Do you remember? Did I?
You did, yeah.
I did.
That was one I thought I was going to miss, and I've not missed anything since.
Oh, so please, if there's anyone there, I know it's going to be very hard, but if it is, I don't got a spare Luton ticket. Message me if you can. I'll give you some few pennies extra. Huh?
I'm saying on the artwork, it is what it is, but I'm absolutely. But the game, it's massive, isn't it? It's absolutely massive, and like Rad says, you can't argue with the form guide. Well, the one thing that gives me confidence with it all is everyone expects Luton to win now, and that's not how football works, is it? And Gordon made comment there, don't listen to what Paul Merson said, because I made reference to him. I tell you what, when Paul Merson predicts something, I think go and bet on the other. because he never gets it right. Do you know? And he does talk sense. I do like the guy, but he just generally gets the predictions wrong. But sort of seriously, it's just going to be really tough, isn't it? When you start looking at the tactical side of it, again, reading some of the comments, the stuff I was thinking anyway, they're going to bombard us with crosses. They're going to play at 100 miles an hour. You know, even if they go behind, they're going to come at us. You know, and they're going to have the partisan crowd behind them. All the odds are sort of stacked in their favour. And it's going to be hard because Forest aren't going to be prepared for that.
Do you think, like Luton, they're a strong side? Do you think, like people like Murillo, Onbombdele, I love Onbombdele, but do you think we need to get players like Bolly in that team because they are it's going to be like a long ball game, and we're going to deal with players like
I firmly believe, and I don't know which one comes out now because Omar Badideli's done that well. I think Bolly is Forest's best centre back as an out and out centre back. Murillo is going to be a star. He's going to be this. He's going to be. Murillo would be great in the Spanish league already. You know, he'd be great for Barcelona or Real Madrid because he wouldn't have to add a thing. They don't get down the wing and put balls in. You know, they play on the floor and he'll be able to dribble it out. I get how good he is, but both of them are doing well at times. But for me, Bolly, especially in this game, you know, up against a big centre back, a team that's going to put the ball in. You know, Bolly has to play because he adds everything, absolutely everything. And his football ability is a bit questionable, and of course that's a bit of a shortcoming in today's game. But we all don't have to try and play like Manchester City, as Luton prove. And they've got their own identity; they play their own way. You know, it's about getting the ball up the pitch quick. You know, getting Barkley on the ball, getting Townsend on the ball, whipping it in. You know, it's gonna be really, really tough. And you're right. I'm not sure I'd go with Felipe and Bolly, but those types of players, you know, Yates, it's the kind of game for Yates, isn't it? Yates and Dominguez. But then at the other end of the pitch, I think we can get them as well. So Nuno's going to have to find that balance. I think we need some pace in there because we can't just sit in because they'll keep coming. They proved that against Aston Villa. They proved it against Newcastle and one or two other games before. They don't care what the score is. They gave Man United a good game, being 2-0 down inside 14 minutes. You know, and they'll keep coming. And Forest won't like that because, like I say, what we're trying to do is sit and watch teams. If that happens on Saturday, you know, we sit and watch what Luton do and let them come at us, then I think the manager's tenure is probably numbered, days are numbered. Because if that's what's happening against Luton and these teams we should beat, then we're in serious shit. We're in serious trouble. And I think he is. And I won't be surprised if we don't come through these next 3 games, especially, you know, that if he's not under severe pressure. We've seen it with Leeds last season, and we know the owner's reputation. You know, we could have another manager in before the end of the season because it could get that desperate. And I think if we don't start showing it, and we don't come out against a team like them, because they're not that good. Let's be honest, you know, for all their hype, for all the good things they can do, Luton are not a very good side. They've got League One players, you know, who are overperforming. Again, going back to that point I made about Forest against Liverpool and the Irish in the 90s, you know, you don't have to always be the best side to get a winning formula. And Forest proved it at times last year. When we went on those little mini runs, you know, earlier in the season when we played Villa and not winning, we drew, and then we drew with Brighton, and we picked up a win and that kind of thing. We've never really competed in the Premier League, but we've managed to stick in there. And last year it was all about fight and commitment and desire, and players picking up free transfers like Serge Aurier, you know, and getting 100% out of him every game. And that's exactly what they've done with Barkley and one or two sort of frees they've picked up as well, isn't it? They're getting something from them. But again, you know it can cave in very quickly. I mentioned the comeback against Villa right at the end of the game. They're very Forest-like in that way, that they shoot themselves in the foot. They did it against Man United. They gave Man United the first goal. And again, the first goal is so important. And they did it the weekend against Palace. You know, they gave the ball away for Palace's goal. Inexplicably. So anything can happen. And again, it's going to be one of those games where most games are. I'm not saying anything that's sort of out there, but it's going to be about getting that first goal, you know. And most games then sort of on the outcome relies on that, you know, to some degree. Yes, turnarounds happen, but not very often. And when teams are struggling, 1-0 can quickly become 2-0 and another mistake and things like that. So if we don't try to at least win that game, and that's what I'm worrying at the moment, we're not trying to win football matches. We're trying not to lose them. And that's the difference between these two teams. That's why Luton are in the ascendancy and Forest are falling like a stone, because we're trying to just hang in there. And that's not a positive way to look at it, is it? What we've got to do is impose ourselves and get on top of them. And I do think if he picks the right team and he goes for it in the way he did against Bournemouth when we were down to 10 and things like that, and the way we did against Newcastle second half, that we're more than capable of beating them. But as the way it looks and with everything that could possibly happen this week, you know, it's bonkers. This sort of thing shouldn't be happening. FFP points deductions and, you know, and
I don't know if you've seen they've changed the rules, haven't they? Is it the PSR rules?
Yeah.
People in the chat, they've changed it just to suit the big six, maybe. I don't know. I've not really read it properly.
Can you imagine, Dor, in September when Luton, Sheffield United and Burnley couldn't get a point and everybody said they won't get as many as Derby, which I did say they would because it's really hard to break that record.
Who?
Can you imagine saying then that Forest will be in a relegation battle with these? Everybody would have been up in arms and laughing their head off at you and saying you're talking nonsense. And look at it. This is how bad it's getting. And to some degree, people have accepted it because, it's only Luton, Sheffield United and Burnley. But it's going to look very different come the end of this week. It's going to look very, very different. And again, the only way we can make sure we stay in the Premier League is to start winning football matches. So we've got to at least start trying to win football matches and imposing ourselves on the game. Until we do that, we're not going to get the required results. Because I think we're going to need, bearing in mind what I've no idea, but what points I think we'll get 6 points. I don't know why. I don't know what basis I make that. I think we'll get deducted 6 points, and then we're going to need to win 4 or 5 matches out the last 10, and that's going to be really, really hard.
100%. Yeah, as you know, I think it's this week the points will be deduction, so I will be doing a video then. But it's going to be tough. Luton they'll be up for it. Everyone wants them to win. The rivals want us to lose, so it's going to be tough. Right, before we do go, please, like I said, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Make sure everyone goes subscribe to Rads to see his video. I'll be watching this straight afterwards to see what his little rant about it as well. So please go subscribe to Rads. I've put the link in as well for Dez's run, coast to coast, as well. So Des, how's your training going on? Tell everyone.
It's all right. You might have seen, if you follow me on social media, I did a 5-miler across London on the way to Brighton yesterday. 5-mile run from Victoria to London Bridge for my connection. So I decided to run it to get it in. Did 70 miles last week, though. It killed me. So I'm working hard. That's the point. I'm doing a run as well. I'm helping Des do a run. Is it a mile run, Des? I'm doing. Yeah, I'm really pleased with the way training's going. That's the point I was getting to. I'm putting a lot of work in for a great charity. Of course, I'm doing 7 marathons in 7 days, coast to coast, 192 miles. Got a few things planned where Dore's doing a mile with me. I'm doing 26 miles in 26 hours from the Friday lunchtime to the Saturday lunchtime before the Man City game. So every hour I'm running 1 mile, and that sounds easier than it actually is. I've done something similar where I did 24 in 24, and by sort of 3/4 of the way through, you just want to sleep. But
I am doing an hour, people.
But Dore's doing an hour. So if anyone else wants to get on board, join that. But please, if you can, make any kind of donation to that Just Giving page, what you posted, repost it, Dore.
I posted it. So people, if you want to, please donate. Link right at the top of the title, if you can. I pinned it as well. So far, Des has he's raised over £1,000. So please, people, if you can, the target is £3,000. Donate. It's going to a fantastic charity as well, to Footprints as well. Fantastic.
Why it's really nice for Forest people to get involved, and a lot of Forest people have a lot of Forest fans. You know, we always talk about the Forest family and people on Twitter and things like that. When it is good, you know, is because it's a Nottingham charity, you know, where a lot of Forest fans are involved and support it and get behind it. So I went to see it with Kay, and it was just incredible what they do. And again, just keeping it not keeping it in the city, but a really sort of nice charity within Nottingham where people can relate to.
But like I said, like I said, a fantastic charity. Like I said, the target is £3,000, so any penny we could help Des. Like I said, 192 miles run coast to coast for Footprints Contour Education Centre as well. Foxy in it, Des, Lisa Fox. Who does all that.
Does a lot of great work for them.
Yeah, Lisa Fox does some fantastic great work. So people, I couldn't do it because I'm not old as Des. Des is a little older. He's over 50 now. So sorry to come back in. He's about. Just please do. It is a fantastic charity as well. So like I said, the link is in the description. Please support Des. Rad, any videos that you're doing this week? No aggressive videos, are you?
Oh, I'm gonna get very aggressive. Yeah. No, I'm gonna do a video. I think about all of this we've been talking about. So yeah, stay tuned to that.
So if you can, people, like, make sure everyone supports Des. Make sure everyone supports Rads as well. I'll be doing a video as well regarding the games. Is it 10 games to go left? Bloody hell! It's getting worse. But if you want to see, make sure people see my vlog, my after reaction of the game as well. Make sure everyone's look for us Des on socials as well. I'm Raz on socials, but it's getting.
Don't forget that Luton ticket.
People in the chat, if you heard what Des just says, if you can help and get him a Luton ticket, it'll be great.
You've got one job this week.
What do you mean one job? You know how much listen to me every time. I do. It happens, but it's going to be. I will try to leave me alone. Do you understand? He always does it. He's always on my neck, and it always happens. But people, if there's any help, please get to Des the Luton ticket because he's getting on my nerves. So yeah, if you can, people, please help Des out. Right, thank you everyone. And it's hard. It's very hard. I was depressed in football. Football depressed. That's how I feel. But I'll be back this week. Watch out for my video. It can't get worse, can it? It can't get worse. I hope it's not. But yeah. Right. Thank you everyone for watching. And hopefully that I'll see you soon. Peace and love, people of the forest.